Hey guys, Coach here. Let's spend some time going over the 4-2 rotation. At this point, we should all understand positions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now, let's spend a moment talking about how they work together for serve-receive. I want you to picture for a second that you and all your teammates on the court are linked together, but you are only linked to the player in front of or behind you and to either side. When we move around to start for serve-receive, the only people we need to focus on with our position in the court are those people directly linked to us. For example, if we are in position 1, all we need to worry about is that we are behind the person in position 2 and right of the person in position 6. The same applies when we rotate to position 6. We only need to worry about being behind the person in position 3 and in between the people in positions 5 and 1. What we don't need to worry about is anyone who isn't one of these people we were talking about directly linked to us. As we can see in this rotation here, positions 3 and 5 are overlapped, but since they aren't linked, they aren't out of rotation. Now that we've covered that, let's get into rotations. These may look confusing, but just try to focus for now on your position and where you stand and move at each point. Here, the setter starts in position 1. Since we don't want the setter to pass, our outside hitter will push back to pass instead. Remembering the idea of stacking we've talked about at training, the setter can be in line with the outside hitter. The setter in the front court will be a hitter and stand to the side, and the middle will stay near the center of the net so they are in position faster. Once the ball is served, it's the backcourt setter's job to get to the front of the court as fast as possible. The outside 1 will move to the right and get ready to hit. Setter 2 will move to the left and get ready to hit, and middle 2 will move back to the 3-meter line ready to hit. The backcourt players will move into their position after the first pass. After the ball is sent over the net, the backcourt setter moves back to position 1 to play defense before moving forward again. Now let's move to the next rotation. Here, the setter is in 6. For this, setter 1 needs to be behind setter 2 and in between middle 1 and outside 1. For this, setter 1 will push setter 2 right up to the net. Since our backcourt setter doesn't pass, middle 1 will move over to cover the space and outside 2 will push back the pass. Middle 2 stands to the far right of the court since they need to be right of setter 2. The good thing about this rotation is setter 1 is already in position to set, so they don't have to move. After the pass, outside 2 will move to the left, ready to hit. Setter 2 hits when in the front court, so they will move to the right, ready to hit, and middle 2 needs to race to the middle of the net, ready to hit. Outside 1 and middle 1 will move into position in the backcourt. Remember, after the ball is sent back over, setter 1 moves back to position 1 to defend before moving back forward. Finally, we get to the last rotation we need to learn. This one here is probably the most confusing one to look at, and I actually showed it earlier in the video. With the setter in position 5, they need to be behind middle 1 and left of outside 1. For this, setter 1 pushes the middle all the way up to the net and can go right as far as they can stack with outside 1. So we have 3 passes, outside 2 will push back and pass. Since middle 1 needs to be left of outside 2 as well, they will push to the far left of the court while staying on the net. Setter 2 hits in the front court so they can just stand on the right there. Once the ball is served, setter 1 doesn't need to move much to get into position. Outside 2 goes to the left, setter 2 will go to the right, and middle 1 runs to the center of the court, all ready to hit. Middle 2 and outside 1 will get into position in the backcourt, and as always, the setter needs to get into position 1 to defend after the ball is sent over the net. When we rotate next, have a look at the positions. Setter 2 is now starting in position 1, which means we just go back to the first rotation we learned and on from there. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment or bring it up at training. These can be confusing at first, but stick with it for the next few weeks and we'll get it in no time. Coach Stub out.